I'd also like to, thank you for having us out here, having me out here, and this chance to meet. There's some dissatisfaction there, and really, hopefully we can work through that. I mean, it's our goal to be your vendor for a long time, and I'm confident that Flexmls and FPS, the company behind it, is the best vendor out there, for sure. So we're not perfect. The product's not perfect. And, nothing ever is. But I'll put us up to against any of our competition, and that's what I do. I mainly do sales, and we present, and we are the fastest growing MLS vendor. We take, the only way we could grow is to win business from other vendors. And we do that, from all the other vendors out there, and we don't lose customers. So we're very proud of that. All right.
That's a good intro. Thank you.
Just our purpose, mission, and vision is really aligned with the MLSs that we serve. We do one thing, and that's make MLS systems. So we're really aligned with that. Our vision is to make the best MLS software and provide the best service to the industry. Our mission is to make the MLS work. We believe in the MLS and the collaboration between the agents, and we know that's the best way to do it. And we want to do that with having the best system, the best media, the most accurate data, and providing those services to our customers. Okay. So next isn't working. That's because I'm on Zoom. All right, there we go. So just one thing about FES is that we're 100% employee-owned company. So everyone you talk to, from the folks that answer the phone to our product team, to Mike Ward's our president, we're all owners of the company. So we have you, our main purpose. It's our retirement. It's based on the success of our customers. I think that's really helped us get to where we are in the business. All right, see if I can get it. It's not liking one on my next.
Is it PowerPoint?
It's Google
Slides.
Google Slides, but I think the Zoom is taking over my screen.
And we can just go into discussion.
Sure. I do have some slides queued up on. Oh, there we go. We're really known for innovation, and I'll just go through these real quick. We were the first company to come out with an API. We developed our first native apps in-house. We were the first to come up with the portals, the client collaboration within the systems. In 2019, we were recognized by Forbes. In 2020, we released a floor plan product to create floor plans. We really thought that was a great value to add that data to the MLS system. So a little history and innovation. We super high support stats in our ratings. We answer 85% of our phone calls for tech support on the ring. We put a lot of effort there on our support stats. I talked about our membership growth. We have 100% contract renewal. We do about one new customer a month. And last year, we brought in almost 35,000 new MLS subscribers. Hosting our systems up. A little bit about Flexmls user research, which I'd like to get this group involved in. We do a lot of user research and use that feedback for product development. Okay, that's what our product team does. So happy to dig into that. Lots of different groups and mechanisms to get that user research. We have our summit coming up, which is our client event. It'd be great if somebody could attend that. I know Judy's attended in the past. It's coming up in June. We do develop with a mobile first technology strategy. So everything that we think of is mobile first, because we know that that's everyone's on the go. And almost half of our usage, both from clients and agents, is on a mobile device. So we realize how important that is. And our UI refresh, you may have seen some of these announcements and screens coming forward. So we're on a fast track of refreshing a lot of the pages from a little bit older look to the new, more modern look and feel. And I could go through that. It's still a couple months in the process. It'll be an ongoing basis. But we have hundreds of screens that we're looking at refreshing. And this, like, kind of small, but this is the old look and this is the new look. This is the old look. This is the new look. So really working on going through all those all the pages and just bringing them up to a little bit more modern UI for ease of use. It's our goal to get people in and out of the system. That's what they want to do. So we're really working hard towards that. Lots of different help systems along the way. We have the Flexmls Academy, which is a series of training and videos, guided help, which are walks you along the way, especially great for new users. Gives them a little guided little boxes pop up. Recently launched an in-app notification center for Flexmls that allows you to see what's new right in Flexmls there. So that's kind of my quick presentation. I know that wasn't kind of the main thing, but sorry I rushed through that so fast. But if you have any other questions about anything, let me know. If not, I'll turn it over to you folks.
Can I ask the UI refresh?
Yes.
Will that include the client-facing portal and the IDX products?
Yes, not initially, but we do have two versions of those. We have the old classic version and then the newer version. So I'm not sure which portal you're looking at.
You're talking about the in-app one, right?
The in-app, and then also just the portal that we're sending them a link to use a portal. They come back and they're looking at the map with the homes on the side. Or is that part of the plan? Is getting a refresh and or additional features for the client-facing portion of that?
That's not on the initial list for these next few months, but we're happy to work with you on identifying what that should look like going forward.
So maybe that's a good starting point. What is on your list of updates for the next, I'll call it 1 year
All right, I have
outside
that.
of the UI?
You have the
changes?
list of things that we sent over to you too, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Queued up here. So, okay, let's share the screen. I'm not used to having the Zoom behind me and. All right, so this is our internal document, but this is This is a list of all the pages that and all the sections we're working on updating. From the search screens, the daily functions, preferences, add change.
I have a quick question, sorry. When you go back up to the top under CMA menu, off to the right-hand side, it says resolved. Is that something you've already completed?
Yes.
Okay. Now I have to see.
And I could bring up all the before and afters too. But if you guys want. So we don't need to go through each one of these, but some of the market trends, the reports, statistics, contacts, add change screens, preferences. So that's on our current to-do list. But like I said, still a few months worth of work going forward.
So Dave, how do you guys get to this to-do list? Is it from the Flexmls customers or is it all done internally? How does to-do list get generated?
Various different ways.
Okay.
That's a good question. And we do a lot of user research. We watch how our customers use the system and how things could be improved. You know, we do some weighting internally as well on based on usage, you know, what things get used more than others. So that gets a priority. I don't know, Tyler or somebody want to address how we prioritize some of those things?
Yeah, I can address that for you. So, and I'm happy to also go, so this is the UI, this is what we're internally calling the UI refresh. Is just, we recognize there's some pages that are outdated and this is how we're approaching that. And the information that we look at to make the decisions on that would definitely be, we have a fantastic data analytics team that can help us dive into usage across all customers.
And you're silent.
Oh, we lost you, Gary.
At least we know she's not driving.
Can you all hear? Can you?
Yeah.
You're back now.
I'm back. Okay. So I don't know where they left off, but I was talking about the data analytics team, which helps us better define what our users are, you know, how they are using the system, and it helps us really prioritize what we do. So that definitely helped, along with their salespeople coming to us with, you know, what they're hearing from prospects and existing customers. So that's how this list gets populated. And Dave, I don't know if we want to go, if you want me to go into a little more beyond the UI of, you know, kind of our narrowed focus for 2022 and what we're doing there, or we can do that later. I'm just, whatever
No,
works.
I think that's good.
Okay. So alongside, so this is in progress. It's going on. Our dev team is working on it and doing a fantastic job. We did decide, recognizing that it was definitely time for some updates and new features, that we made the decision that we are going to narrow within the product team, we are narrowing our focus to our core experiences, which we are core experiences would be our search and also our listing, which would be listing entry and, you know, any listing maintenance that would be done. So we are looking at those pages as just a fresh look at them. You know, what is it that we can do? But we are not looking to do like a complete, we need to reteach our people how to do it. We're going to take it bit by bit. And so in January, we started that, and our product team is divided into two groups, one for listing and one for search. And they are taking all of that information from our customers, from our data analytics, from our prospects. Just look, you know, all of those things we're taking into consideration of what are the priorities. And so when we look at what do we want to accomplish as a product team and to deliver to our users, is we want to reduce the time to complete. We want to increase the accuracy. We want to increase the data depth, and we want to make sure that you all are able to increase engagement with your consumers. So we are taking those and peeling off ways that we can accomplish those objectives. So you will start seeing those rolled out next month would be the first one that we'll hit. So we are moving along on that one. And just to give you a heads up on that in particular is the ability to add a listing from mobile and to be able to view your listings or view your listings within mobile. And that will also, that functionality, and also, sorry, one thing I meant to mention is there will be a Google, that single entry bar that you're used to in Google that will help you populate that address. And that will also be moved over to desktop.
And you said view listings in mobile, was that edit listings in mobile?
That will be the next step.
Next step, okay.
Tracy, did I miss anything on that?
Yeah, thanks, Gary, for that. That's a good explanation of everything. Any questions about those?
How does this get communicated to just the average user? Like, is there, as these new improvements happen, is there a pop-up or something that alert people, or is it just a?
Yeah, there's several ways. And here's just a little bit about our listing input plans that Carrie talked about. So right here, there's a, is that showing? There's a little notice, and that talks about everything that's what's new in FlexMLS. So that's a relatively new addition that we've had to help communicate. You guys know it's hard to get in touch with the agents and get them to read things. So that's one way. The other way is what we call the Fast Pass program, which we work with the MLSs to broadcast via email with notifications. So happy to work with you on whatever works best for your members to get that information.
I think it'd be appropriate to go through the list of questions just one by one and have them address them that were sent to you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that, pardon?
No,
Is that a bad idea?
no, I think that was the point. Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. Mhm.
So maybe start from the top and discuss them on the way down.
Okay,
Well,
those.
I mean, it was kind of, the list of questions is all over the board. So if we're in the
Yeah.
conversation about the mobile app right now, then why don't we discuss the mobile app questions or like the issues that we're having with that and see if what you have coming up is gonna fix that, right?
Okay, yep. So I can pull up the list. Yes, yeah.
One of them was that the mobile app does not allow for full editing of data. That was Tyler's brought that up a couple of times, and I think that that's been brought up just in general,
Yep.
because we are on the go so much and do have to use the app a lot.
Yeah, that's all, Carrie talked about that. So we're gonna do two things in mobile coming up, and one is be able to add a whole listing from scratch. And then the second step for that will be to be able to edit the full
All the
listing.
data, okay,
All the
sorry, I
data.
missed the data part.
Yeah.
I saw the listing being able to go, okay.
And you said that's gonna happen in the next year?
Yeah, Carrie, what was the time frame on the add a listing and edit a listings?
Sure.
Roughly?
So the Google bar and the ability to view your listings and to be able to start a listing, that will be next month. And then the ability to edit, fully edit on mobile, that will be coming after that. So certainly within the next year for full editing. But next month for the others.
Start a listing.
And what do you anticipate the length of when you start doing something? It takes a month for it to be available in the app, a week? How long does it take typically? Does that make sense?
So
I think she knows.
Oh, okay.
so let me make sure I understand your question correctly. So you are saying when I say go live, what I mean by that is that the realtors are able to see it and use it. at that time. So that would definitely be within the next month, depending on what it is. I mean, there's really no set time frame, like if, when we start something to when it's live. It just depends on the complexity of that particular feature.
Okay.
But we definitely have the message that it is on the list for sure. And we are well aware that editing complete, being able to edit those listings on the mobile is very, very important. So know that that's been heard.
Okay. Mark, did you have any? I'm pulling up online.
Well, one of the other things that Tyler brought up too was the reporting, the market reports, and how you're not able to export the data into Excel to create graphs. Is that something that you guys are looking at?
That's not something on our current roadmap, but we'd like to dig into that a little bit further with you all and understand that requirement. And we can look at getting that on the roadmap.
Or do you wanna talk about that?
Part of the reports, and that's why I'm a little nervous about you guys using usage as your benchmark for what to focus on first, because I think a lot of agents kind of give up on some of the reporting. The reports that get generated are good for most of us because we're looking at these numbers on a daily basis. But when you hand that to a client or you try to, explain that, they just sort of gloss over. And they're looking for more of an infographic. Graphs would be amazing, an amazing integration into this. And what Judy was mentioning is that those reports are not, you can only print them. You can't export that data, throw it into Excel and create graphs that a client could look at so that they can visualize what complex stuff you're trying to explain to them. And again, we all, we're using lingo and jargon. We have to think these people don't sell and work with a housing industry on a daily basis. So we really do need something that can connect them to the information that we're trying to.
More consumer friendly.
Definitely. And, it'd be great to not have to export that data at all. I've been trying to ask Judy to give us a little more in the way of number of, downloaded records. We have kind of a cap. So you have to download a few times in order to throw all of it into Excel and do your work there. And that's again, why I say, I don't know if usage is a great way to determine what needs to go first, but.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And it's not the only way we determine.
Okay,
That's just one variable or one thing that we look at.
Good. And while we're on that topic, and I hate to bring it back to the portal, most of our clients, I can say, are more comfortable in Zillow and that interface. And it's the same data, but that interface is what they're used to. Oftentimes it's what they got into first was, searching for homes, saving their own search, naming their search, liking the properties. And the portal does some of that stuff. And it's not as pretty as Zillow is, but I would look at Zillow's model and say, can we have a portal that doesn't make them have to choose between, do I want to work with this where I can't save searches, where I can't do a lot of the things that Zillow already has the advantage of having, for example, Armless will have homes that are listed in Flagstaff, but not listed in NAR. So Zillow already has an advantage over us where they've got all the data coming in. So they're seeing all the homes, but we can't track what our clients are looking at on Zillow. We don't see their preferences. We don't see what the direction that they're going, or maybe a new direction they're going. We don't know until they're sharing a link with us to Zillow to say, this is what I want to see. And then we're having to contact a Phoenix agent in order to set up a showing and that sort of thing. I just, most of our clients are doing both. They'll kind of look at the portal, but they're still going back to Realtor and Zillow and looking at those portals because that's where it's more comfortable for them. So I don't know how everyone else feels about it, but I would say the number one thing is not our ease of use, but the client's ease of use.
Yeah,
That should be number one. That should be the priority right now.
I agree. And in 100% transparency, one of the things that we really liked about the Remind app portion of it is the client facing, like they could interact with us, right? They could make their own searches, they could schedule a showing, they could let their agent know they wanted to write an offer. I mean, it was
You could chat.
so
back and
easy
forth.
while we're out in the field. They're just basically telling us what their next move is. Hey, I want to see this house. This is what I like. This is the area I like, you know, all of that. And that's exactly right, Tyler, is that that's what makes us feel like it's not working with us because our clients are going elsewhere. They're being taken away from us.
And what that ultimately does, you put people out on a platform out into the real world and it begins to degrade the integrity of the information that me personally is getting across, because now you're exposed to Tyler and Ted and everybody else out there when you were originally my client. So to keep that person in communicating directly with us, it's incredibly important.
Sure, and yeah, I totally understood. The client engagement is a key priority of ours. So it's one of the things Carrie mentioned there. So this is great feedback. And there's kind of two issues I'm hearing here. One is about using the product and making it easier for consumer. The other one is the data, you know, having other MLS's data in that. So those are kind of two separate issues.
Yes.
So the data thing, you know, we could set up a data share, or, I mean, that's up to you and RMLS to data share.
We talked about.
Yeah,
it.
right, so that's kind of out of our hands.
Right.
So we can't do anything about that. I mean, we could, if you choose to go down that road, we could help you with that. But that's, so that's kind of a,
Can I ask, because some of us
Yeah.
belong to both boards
Mhm.
specifically for that purpose, and if Flex were able to, because I have to completely log out of NAR in order to get into Armless. But if at all possible, if you are a member of both, if there is anything that you can do for those clients, so not setting up two portals for my client, but rather one that has whatever data I have access to.
yeah, we've talked about that for some, you know, the situation you have is common across
Yeah.
the country. Yeah, so we've talked about different ideas about that as well, about helping dual membership agents, especially with two Flexmls systems to do that. So, all right, I'll take that as an action item.
I mean, the app itself is also just half the time it won't load. You know, we have rural areas here, so that's also just troublesome in itself. I think we've talked to you about that for the last, this has been an ongoing thing. Right? I mean, how many times when you're out and somebody's like, what's the square footage on this again? And you're just like, let me pull it up. Never mind.
Yeah.
Because
A lot of us are trying to be paperless.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I bring my phone. I really try not to do a whole lot of paper unless I'm doing like a gazillion showings in one day. And then it's just easier for the client to even kind of shuffle papers around too. But if I'm at 2 or 3 homes and they want the square footage and I don't have that memorized and I go to pull it up, if, you know, even in town, I've noticed it just has a hard time loading. I don't get it doesn't load quickly, even if I'm on 5G. I just feel like I maintain like the highest level of phone I can and service so that things work. And then when I'm on the go, it's not very quick. So.
Okay, so I mean, yeah, if you're have spotty cell service, that's one thing. But if you're connected,
Right. I mean, I could be like in town, like underneath the like cell tower and like looking at a home and it would be difficult or.
I don't know, have we heard that from other areas? Anyone?
No, it's not a complaint I hear too often with it not loading. When you say it takes a while to load, do you have a rough estimate of how long that is taking? Or is it just failing to load completely?
Probably longer than 30 seconds. I don't know about you guys. What's your experience?
Oh, yeah, and then sometimes it just won't at all.
I'll be trying to do stuff on my phone and on the computer at the same time, and like the phone just won't do anything. So I go onto the computer to use it. So yeah, the mobile app has been challenging for sure.
Yeah, sounds like it.
And I know you're typically on the road or out and about when you experience this, but have you reported it to our support team at all by chance? The failure to load or the really delayed loading?
I feel like it has been in the past, but I haven't, not recently, no.
I think we've just sort of accepted it. In fact, I usually just go straight to the county website, which loads very slowly, even on a computer, but it still loads faster.
Or I get drawn out of the app too. Just go to like Home Snap or something.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I get some
Yeah.
also.
Okay, yeah, we'll have to do some research on that, because that's, I mean, I use it a lot, not up in this area. So, but if other things are working, then that's where it doesn't make sense to me for one to work and not the other.
I have noticed too in the mobile app, just like the hot sheet is often inaccurate,
Yeah,
where, you know, like I know for a fact that a listing came up in the last 24 hours and when I pull it up, it's not there. And then I'll go to 72 hours and it's not there. And then finally I just search by the address and it'll pop up and say new listing. And I'm like,
I went through that too.
you know, so, which could be a big hindrance, like if you're just trying to use that exclusively and you don't already know about the property. But yeah, it's super fickle. Like I'm not sure what, if it's user error or what, but I've noticed that pretty frequently. And I'll back it all the way up to the 72-hour function and it still won't show up. And then again, like I just start manually typing in the address. And I have noticed that the search in general seems to be fickle. Where like if I start typing in a street name or something of a property that I know of, it can't find it, it can't find it. I type the whole word in, it can't find it. And then like, I'll just find this weird backward way of getting to it and like all the data matches. So I'm not sure what, you know, it's not because of a spelling error or anything like that. Like it'd be great if there was a better search, sort of an autocomplete. You know, like if you start typing in the first 3 or 4 letters of the street name or the house number or something like that, it seems like that functionality just isn't there. And so there's lots of just going back and forth until I finally find a workaround to get to it.
Have you tried the quick launch?
Is this on the app?
It's,
I know what the quick launch
it's
is.
on the app and the same in Flexmls.
That's usually where I have the most issue,
Yeah,
is in that search.
I have to go to the map most of the time and just say, I know this is there, or this is the area. I'm looking for."
I
And I
literally
just-
did that this morning where I had to go to the map and be like, where is this?
Yeah.
I get, all my searches come up with Sedona, Cottonwood, and Camp Verde, and I'm primarily a Flagstaff agent.
Can I just ask if they're Apple or Android users? What's the mix here?
I'm Apple.
Apple.
Apple
Android.
quick launch doesn't work
Android.
most of the time.
I'm
About half
Android.
and half.
Yeah, half and half.
Okay, great.
I'm wondering on kind of the speed issues, if we could look at any logs or anything. I'm kind of stretching here, but to see what search times.
Yeah,
are.
Dave, I think we can definitely take a look and see what we can figure out. You know, I heard rural, so I'm assuming what we're talking about here is you're on a cell network. And are there also issues when you're on Wi-Fi, or is it predominantly when you're on cell?
I have less issues when I'm on Wi-Fi,
Okay,
but I mean, I don't feel like we're rural in the sense that I don't typically lose cell service most places in Flagstaff.
Yeah.
And then if you're able to use Home Snap or the county website,
Right.
Right.
you have some sort of connection there. so.
Exactly. I mean, I know of a few dead spots, like in my neighborhood particularly, but
Your home office.
then I just, wouldn't check things at bus stop, but.
Yeah, on the way to Williams is a small spot also there.
Right, but
And then on the hot sheet, I guess if we could have like when it's happening, if we could duplicate it, that would be our best bet of troubleshooting that.
Sure. It's just hard. I mean.
Yeah, I know
it's
you're
hard
out.
to do that because you're like on a time crunch. And
Sure,
you don't
sure.
think to take screenshots or
Yeah.
anything like that. It's usually there's somebody in front of you or you know. But
Yeah, okay, well, I don't know, Adam, if maybe we could look
Yeah.
into that. a little bit.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind getting together with me after this and just giving me any examples you've had where you've seen this happening, I'd be happy to see if I can figure out why the hot sheet wasn't reflecting the listing properly.
Okay, so, gonna actually trying to look at tool membership for working with your clients.
Safe searches, please.
Safe searches in the portal.
Well,
Save it
from the
already.
client's
From the-
perspective,
yeah, from the
yeah,
client,
not from
yes.
us being able to save them searches. But even on that note, it is cumbersome to create a search on the go for a client. Because oftentimes they're calling while you're out and about, right? And you're like, oh yeah, I always am like, I'll get back to my computer and do it. And I'm never gonna send them from the mobile app.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
Ever. No,
I would take notes on paper and
Yeah.
then I'd go back to my computer to set up a search for somebody, including a subscription and portal.
exactly.
Because
Is that,
I'm trying to capture everything, like you're saying, we want to keep them off of Zillow, right? So if I have to go, let me jot down your search criteria and then wait till I get home. And they're like, well, I could have typed this into Zillow on my own.
That
Right?
happens.
They're
more
already
often
calling
than not.
another agent.
Yeah.
They're already, and they're like, oh, contact listing agent, great,
Yep.
now I don't have them.
I mean,
Not
if
even
you,
go to the listing agent, go to somebody else.
For
Right.
sure, yeah, premier agents, pretty
because
faces on
truly, if
site.
you even go in here and you go to try to, create a search and save them and then send it to them, it is, the way that it works on here versus on here, am I the only one that thinks it's cumbersome?
I think that's a good word for it.
That's a nice word for it.
Yeah.
No, it's not, I mean, trying to be patient, but as a market leader, you look at a product like this and go, have you looked at your competitors? Have you shopped your competitors' growth? Have you looked at their interfaces? Because there are some, I don't want to get punched, but there are some far superior experiences that are available in the market. Your list of products that you're working on, that's great, but when and how, and to kind of kick back and ask us, are we logging? Are we asking? Are we reporting? And go, how'd you get this far?
yeah,
It's no disrespect, but how did you get this far in this many markets? And you see, there's quite a few competitors that are coming up real quick behind you with superior customer experiences. It's embarrassing to be in the field, have a question asked to you, and your client's got the answer way faster than you could get to it. So it even turns us realtors, I hate to do it, but now I have to be shopping Zillow. Additional market data that's available at the fingertips to a client, neighborhood information, demographic information that's available in the mobile apps and the portals.
And allowed,
Pardon?
and that's allowed. Demographic,
Yeah, to some,
No,
Yeah.
violating fair housing.
well, okay, but there's significant county record data that's
Yes.
available in your competitor's mobile apps, and the customer can see it. Great schools information, that's better than demographic information. The program's lacking in a lot of areas. It's a phenomenal data repository.
Yep.
And from there, that's ultimately you're a humongous data warehouse, but there's not a good customer experience on either end. I'm trying not to be rude, but that's
well, no,
That's
that's
how I
why
feel.
we're here. And
Let's
we-
get
we
to
wanna
it.
hear it, yeah.
You got a massive list of questions. You guys are in fact a market leader. You're everywhere. Have you become a necessary evil as a company, and people are just accepting it and moving on to third-party applications and using you as a data repository? Is that what it is? Or, and that's you don't have to answer that question, but
Well, I can answer that generally and just being quite open about it. I mean, that is a question that when we struggle with our priorities or try to come up with our priorities, do we try to make it everything like statistics or, Cloud CMA is popular and, those guys focus on Cloud CMA and they make you different than another agent. So is the CMA important part of an MLS? I mean, I think so. And that's just one example throughout there. Or should we leave that for the third parties to do and let the agents choose it, and it can be competitive? You know, I mean, Flexmls is a system. It's a huge system, and it does a million things. And you know, we can only work on so many things at one time. You know, so like some of the statistics that they haven't been worked on in a while, right? You know, not gonna lie about that. The mobile stuff that has been a few years. You know, and that is our priority. You know, like I said, everything we're working on is mobile first. So when we come up with new things, it's going to be both desktop and mobile. You know, there's not going to be a difference. So now, is that happening fast enough? It never does, right? So but we are doing our best to move there, and that's why we appreciate this meeting and want feedback.
Not trying to put you off.
No,
I've been involved in this for a year and a half, and some of these people in the room have been involved in it 5-6 years and going, where have we gone? What has changed? What has been updated? That was a nice tickler of changing buttons, but we gotta go a lot further.
Sure, we realize that, and then changing those buttons is and that's why that's getting done relatively quickly, because it's not rocket science. You know, not that it's super easy, but it's not,
Right.
you know, developing something new, a new workflow interface and things like that.
You know, one of the feelings I feel as a realtor is after a while, it becomes a death by 1,000 cuts, where I have 19 different applications I have to go to, where I would like 1 or 2. You know, when you're out in the field, I want to see property line, which I don't expect you to do this, but you want to see property lines, you go to HomeSnap. You want to find out tax records, some certain tax record data is in the field. I got to go to the county website, and then want to know more about the house. So you know, it's like I'm bouncing from 9 different places. There again, there's competitors that have it all in one place. You go, this is easier, you know. So
I think, so part of the issue that I have too is the data is super important, and the data is what separates us from the Zillows of the world. But back to Tyler's point, it's super cumbersome to do anything with that data. So a perfect example is yesterday, the Daily Sun asked me to write an article like with a market snapshot, and they're like, hey, can you give us a quick graphic? And that quick graphic turned into me on Flex doing multiple searches for the areas I want, just to find the median sales price for the year 2019, 2020, 2021, getting all that data, dropping it into a Google Sheet to drop and create a nice looking graph. And what should have taken me, you know, 5 minutes turned into like a 45-minute project just to get something that was easily digestible by the consumer. You know, so that's all the data is there, and that's what I really like. I mean, that's what differentiates us, because still a lot of times they'll ask you Zillow questions, but then you say, let me look, because the data that I have is better than whatever, like a for sale by owner can just throw whatever the hell they want on Zillow, you know, things like that. So, but making that consumer friendly is a big driver for me anyway. Like it's just super cumbersome. And so like you'll ultimately end up having to translate MLS language into Zillow language so that they can understand it and see it. And if that makes sense, like we see all the down and dirty hard numbers, but then back to Tyler's point, like what does that mean for somebody that's deciding to list their house or buy a house, and making that more consumer friendly when they're used to just instantaneous gratification on the Zillows of the world, or like an infographic on social media, or, you know, things like that. There's definitely a disconnect there between the great data that we have and being able to use it.
Consumer.
I mean, kind of going back to the client portion of it is that there is a multitude of companies out there that do analytics and data and, you know, all of that we can use that looks pretty for our clients. But the one thing that consistently happens is that they're going away from us to find the properties that we then are trying to sell to them. So for me, you know, having to go to get comps to list a property, fine, I can use RPR, fine, I can use this, I can use all these other ones, right? That maybe look prettier than the way that Flex can, you know, get this report over to them. But ultimately, when my clients are texting me properties from other pages, Zillows and Trulias and whatever else, and I cannot communicate with them about it outside of then finding it on my own in Flex, that's a big problem for me. To me, that is the biggest issue. Like, I get where you guys are coming from with the reporting and everything, but there's so many other sources that we go to use.
And
For
they
that
all
very
disagree.
What?
All of those third parties, they all have different
Yeah.
numbers. So
Yeah,
I
that is-
always feel like, what did
that
they
is
do?
true.
Can I just look at our data
Right.
and get it correct?
Right, so basically, like, if we didn't have to go use RPR, if we didn't have to go use all of these other ones because it looked really awesome to them and accurate in this awesome report that could be 32 pages long and include all of the schools and all of, that's what I think you meant by demographics, right? Like
Yeah.
different neighborhoods.
I used the wrong word. I apologize. I know fair housing very well.
I literally did
I'm
fair
sorry.
housing last night. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I think that's the message is that just the way that it looks for our clients is the biggest issue. It feels archaic, it feels dinosaur, it's not pretty to them, it's not easy for them to use, it's not easy for them to, that interaction between them and us, which
Okay.
is the most important thing.
I don't remember the last time that I set up somebody with a portal and they used the portal to fruition, like to the closing of it's always abandoned. Like they'll be like, oh, that's cool. And then here's the Zillow link, or like it very rarely does what I think you guys intended to do because they just don't feel it. Like it kind of pops up and it looks so like pretty antiquated. It's like this old Internet Explorer looking type, and they're not familiar with that. Like, so even the data is good. Like they'll abandon it really frequently.
And even if I set them up on a search, if they could at least change a feature of the search on their own and then save it themselves, like if they're looking in a certain neighborhood in a certain price point, but then they go, you know what, I'm not finding what I want in this price point. I just want to change the price point parameter. If they could even do that and just modify the search I already set up for them. I've changed some clients' search 5 times for them in the last 4 days because our market's a little unique, and I get that, but they keep changing their price range and they can't even do that on their own. And then one other feature that if somebody's writing stuff down would be really awesome is if they are finding a property and they go, this is the one, I don't want them to star it and then I have to go find it in their portal. I'd like to get a text notification saying, I want, and them to be able to go, love this property, and I want it to come to my phone.
That's what I was saying.
Without an email.
That's why we
or-
liked about
yeah.
Remind is they could say, I want to write an offer, or I want to
Yeah.
schedule a showing, and you get a notification immediately, and you're like, okay, perfect.
So-
Specifically about the property.
Right, you know
About this
exactly what
particular
they're seeing,
property. I'd
right.
love
Yeah.
to see something like that. So if we want to be more specific about the issue we have with the search part, I think editing a search that's already been created to keep them in the portal,
Yeah.
right? Or even start a whole new search that can then get saved, that they can toggle between in the portal, and then I can go, oh, hey, they set up a new search in there. Okay, what are they liking with these search criteria? And then I can focus on that. But then also, just to repeat, and maybe somebody could write, instant. It doesn't even I'm looking at my email, but I'm on my phone. So if it can come through a text, sort of like how showing time, like I put in a request for a showing and then I get a text saying it's been confirmed. It's so at my fingertips, it would be like literally life changing.
Just a push note, like, so-and-so has created a search.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
cool.
when we send the property to the client and we get the email back saying, that they already viewed the property.
Right.
And it's the property. Which one?
Right.
I
want it to be
Until you
specific to
click
that
through to the
property.
link and you go dive forward.
Yeah,
and
I
there's
do
4 or
that. I
5 in
have to
there.
click to,
Which one did you
Send-
want?
send emails, and find out which client sites.
Right.
Because sometimes I send 2 or 3, in a row.
Okay, yeah, so we do have the message center within the portal and the Flexmls where,
I think the problem is
But-
people aren't using the portal, so they're not gonna use the message center.
Right, and it doesn't have the push notifications for the agent. We have push notifications for the client
Yeah,
that, well, hey, there's a new property that matches your
Mhm.
search criteria if they're using the app.
Right.
But when they message the agent, it shows up in an email or in the message center in Flex,
Yeah.
so. Okay, no, that's. Yeah, but that's something that is on our list.
okay.
I know internally, so maybe this meeting will help prioritize that, those push
Well, the
notifications.
speed is very important to me. I was with a client last week, and he asked me about this property, and I was trying to find, he said, okay, I'll send you the information. I received a screenshot from Zillow in less than 5 seconds, you know?
Yeah.
So it was, okay.
Yeah, got it.
Dave, with all of these portal related requests and observations, I would say that, and I don't know if anyone here is still using it. I used to have the Flex IDX on the website, and there were similar issues. So I don't know how much of that portal, these portal observations could also be applied to the IDX product. The reason I say that is because, like, your membership is going up, but I mean, the Realtor membership is going up. A lot of these people are brand new agents, and the Flex option is very affordable, connects to the portal is actually a decent little CRM when you get down to it. And so a lot of these newer agents, that's all they have. And so if the IDX and the portal were kind of on par with each other, I realize the portal isn't going to be on the website, I framed in, but that's fine for a third party.
But it does share that same
It does share-
user interface.
Exactly, yeah. So if we could help out those newer agents to have a good IDX product on their website, I think all of these observations could be applied to that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then one other item that I still have circled here, and this goes back to reporting, is that, and depending on who you're talking to, median average versus average is, people use it different ways. If every report could have both, especially where dollar amounts, we have a lot of outlier amounts out here. And an outlier can throw off an average so badly when you're doing a very, deep specific search. So median does help out, and actually having both, so you can kind of see what side the weight is on in a median situation is helpful. But there are some reports that don't have median at all. And I've seen, I know Tad wouldn't do it, but I've seen articles written by agents where they've used the average. And they're saying that, this is the average price in Flagstaff, and I think it scares away so many potential buyers. So that I think median in that case, I think would help out, since average can be so much higher.
Yeah, especially like even if you do a quick CMA, you have to like manually check the box that says you want to include the median calculation. And that's always seemed strange to me, like that should just be another,
if anything.
because it is just so highly, and I agree with Charlotte, like our average price. Oh my God, one closing throws the whole thing into, like every house in this neighborhood just went up $400,000. And people see that and they're like, oh, okay, sweet. And
Yeah, it's challenging for the sellers and
Right.
the buyers.
Right.
looking at that.
So regarding the statistics, there's an often overlooked section when you're looking at search results. It's the compare tab. And that's got comparison statistics where it can look at the listing you have highlighted in your search results. And you also have search statistics. And I think Dave will show this in a second, but it's got both average, median, low, high, and the total volume for a number of fields: beds, baths, square foot, list price, sold price, and so on. And I think that this is, like I said, it's often overlooked, but it does contain a ton of valuable data in it. And it's got graphs and things like that. So it's pretty easy to read if you wanted to share that with your the consumers that you're working with.
And that's just right along here on the action.
Yep.
Items.
And then this compares the listing versus the rest of the rest of the listings in the results. So you can compare its prices and a smaller subset of fields versus the rest of the search results. And then in the search statistics, it gives you the totals for the search you ran. And it can give you both average and median for all of these items as well.
Is that an example somewhere you want to export and try to manipulate or?
Yeah, doing this sort of thing is, this is where it's easy, but it's in the kind of pre-made reports where, you know, where you're digging into the actual statistics reports in the menu. Those just come up as a sheet that you can print. All right, all my boxes are checked.
All right, any questions from folks on Zoom?
I don't have any.
No questions, but thank you very much. This,
Yeah, thanks.
you've taken some
Letting
good.
us sit in.
good notes.
Yes, thank you for your time.
For sure.
Okay, well, I got 2 pages of notes here. And so I appreciate the feedback, and I'll get back and work with the teams and try to address these and see what things we can help you with right now, in the near future, or a little bit further in the future, kind of give you a report back on.
Just
on those items.
a quick question. Are you, since you guys work with so many MLSs all over or associations all over the country, is there like a glaring issue that we are not seeing that you're working on that's come up, bubbled up in another area or region where like sort of an aha moment? Oh yeah, if we did that, then, you know, because I think sometimes we get stuck in our little box of like, this is what we do
Great question.
in Northern Arizona, but like they might have figured out a new trick in North Dakota or whatever. Is there anything that you guys are working on that,
Well,
or
I
a
mean,
common thing I think that you see that we haven't brought up that?
no, I mean, you do have some unique things you brought up, but you know, like adding a listing and editing a listing on mobile, I mean, that's pretty much across the board. And you know, statistics. I guess one thing we noticed that might be a little bit more specific to your setup is we do have a statistic or a market stats dashboard. It's kind of on the statistics topic. And this could be, I think right now, everyone has to set it up individually, an agent does through the customized options. We can make this where it's available to everybody.
But I think what you're saying is like, maybe in other places that is somebody else doing something that we don't know about.
Yeah, like a
will
cool
help
feature that
us.
they've brought up to your attention or.
Yeah.
What else should we want, Dave?
What else?
Yeah. What are other people
We need a
doing that
third
we
page.
want?
Something that you know, that is happening. in
Or that we
other
could be doing
areas
better
that
that we
will
just
help
haven't thought
us.
of.
Yeah, maybe we're missing something.
First question on the top of my page here. So are there a host of services that you guys offer that we're not even aware of? Is there something that I'm not aware of? Is there a product or a feature which kind of goes in line with what they're asking?
No, I mean, we're pretty narrow focused. I mean, Flexmls can be set up and customized, you know, towards you. I mean, there's one thing, the market stats. Adam and I were going through your system. We do have some customer flyers that are very consumer driven, that look real nice, that we could help you guys incorporate.
Well, please show us that so that we can say
Yeah.
if we want to just go ahead and click the button. Let's start with the stats.
That's a great way. to put
When
it.
you say
What are we
customer
missing?
flyers, are you
Maybe
talking
we
about
can
making
offer
open
something
house
and we can
flyers
do it.
or flyers for, mailers? Is that what you mean by flyers?
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
you know, like your detailed report.
Yeah.
You know, that's
That's
a lot of
what-
information on there, but it's not super consumer friendly. So just a
You can
more
kind of-
consumer friendly report.
Yeah,
And the agents can really customize it too, to
Yeah.
have, if someone works for horse properties, they can put horse fields on there.
On the.
you've seen
fire.
those.
I think it's on the main one we all use.
Yeah.
I
I don't either.
I think it's on there too. I don't know, I never really checked. It's always looking for it.
Yeah, right? I'm trying to get away from people.
I feel like I'm in the line of fire with that.
Yeah.
What? Just because you have a whole tablet of paper doesn't mean.
Sorry.
I'm just
And do you-
kidding.
Did you have a list of the things that you and Adam saw in our MLS that could make the experience better for? members?
Those were the two big ones. Adam, was there anything else?
Let me look at my notes again. 1 second here.
Maybe we have something set up, maybe it doesn't make sense, or we can make it better.
Yeah, we were also looking at your lists for your bigger fields like city and subdivision. Those are fairly long lists to actually have to scroll through. And this is more for agents rather than clients, unfortunately. So I don't know if it's the solutions you were looking for, or any of the tricks or things to make lives easier. But instead of having to scroll through the list, we have an autofill that you can use for your search boxes. So you can just start typing a couple of letters and it will come up with whatever subdivision or city or whatever you were looking for. And I think Dave will be able to demonstrate that as well.
So this is an example of one of the, I know it's kind of cut off here, but one of the more consumer friendly flyers. And then the agents can make their own very easily. It's a very easy report editor. It's done in blocks. So they can add their own headers and control the data that they want inside of it. And then these can be incorporated in, all your email communications.
Because you have some right now that we cannot type on.
Say that again.
Yeah, you have some right now that we cannot type on it. They have the spaces, but we cannot type.
Right, yeah.
I
So
told technical support, and they say, well, just move to another one. I say, okay.
yeah, so this is one thing that we could help you get some of these flyers in there. Like I said, it's easy for the agents to create.
Or if
create
we
their
can
own.
choose the picture, it will be nice too.
Yep, you can.
Yeah, this one.
There's a couple of different layouts we can set up for you, and Dave and I can work with you on getting you a list of those. But these reports were specifically designed to be very user friendly and be able to be edited by anyone. So you should be able to go in and choose what fields you want and what layout you want and what order you want it all to appear in. So
Yeah,
if you-
all our reports are editable, but there's a very complex and powerful report editor. So this was more of a report editor for everybody. You can drag and drop and things like that to create these reports. And we could set up some standard ones, like Adam said, and then the agents can customize them from there.
Exactly.
Okay, we want to go back to. The search fields, Adam.
Yeah, those were the any of the really big fields. I think city is probably the biggest one that I saw.
That's a good question. Why do we have all those in there?
Because we have people from other MLSs that have take listings in those areas.
It'd be kind of cool if there was just a
Secondary,
search bar,
yeah.
so you could just go FLA and then Flagstaff shows up instead of having to do all that.
You
I
can,
Yeah,
can
that's
Typing
what I
it
was thinking about.
Typing it where?
if you click.
If I just click on it and then start typing FLA, it highlights.
Click on what though? Like.
I don't click on, I just click on city and then I start typing FLA and it comes
Yeah, if you
up.
type F, it'll jump to the apps.
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
But if you have several you want to do, are you gonna show the control F? If you
Oh,
click see all, everything pops up in a window, and then if you hit control F on your computer, you can actually you can search for cities that way as well. So you can select multiples pretty quickly.
So maybe we can just throw all those into other and just have Flagstaff.
What about Belmont? Is that okay?
Okay, but Flagstaff is.
So I'm gonna pull up this count in Georgia again, since I was just there and see how. But they do have a search box.
So I know a lot of associations have gone through, they've eliminated their areas and everything, and just use the map. They got with the areas and.
Area code.
The area, yeah.
Okay, so
Like
here's an
40,
example where
50s. Mm.
it's the city, instead of that list, we start typing. We type into it, and of course, the see all is still there too.
And that list is still there where you can scroll through if you don't want to use the search bar, or you don't want to change, or you're not sure of the spelling or whatever it is. You've still got that same functionality, but you've got enhanced functionality as well. And to select multiple, you would just hold down the control button on Windows or command on Mac, and you can check or select multiple items.
So yeah, so any of your big list fields, we could clean that up a little bit for you.
Big list fields area, right?
Yeah.
What we're talking about, just one minor pet peeve that I have is when you go to just the market summary page where it brings up just all the basic graphs and the data. You have to, if it's been a couple of months since you pulled up that page, you have to go and update it to the current month, because like it'll show the last time you searched there. And it seems like it would be super easy to just have it the most current. Like just auto be the most current month, if that makes sense. And I don't know if it's just something I'm doing wrong, but like every, I don't know, couple of months, I'll pull that up and it'll say, like it would say, yesterday I pulled it up and it said through February. So I had to go through and change my area and change it to February, or change it to the most current. But it seems like if that's supposed to be our true sort of market summary snapshot, it should be auto going to right now and not to the last time you pulled it up. Unless it's just something I'm doing wrong, but I always have to go to that customer.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Here it says March, which is the full month.
It always seems to default to the last time. I know the last time that I looked at it, because it'll still be like January, or I'll be like, oh, it's been a couple of months since I pulled up this particular screen. And I have to go to the customize button to switch it to the current month.
Yeah, do you know about that, Adam?
Yeah, that is intended for people who like to rerun the report, since it only has to load that once, since it has to reload every time you do the custom field. I don't think there's a way to have it default to that, but it's certainly worth looking into, defaulting, excuse me, to the current month. I'll do some digging on that.
Yeah, that'd be a nice option to choose.
Because it seems like more often, I mean, that's the only time I ever pull up that is I want to know a quick snapshot for today. And not necessarily
Less.
like what it looked like 2 months ago. I was there, I know what I did 2 months ago.
You're gonna show us how our stats could be better for the agent, or what better we can put? Is that what, or did I?
No, I mean, we could make the,
I don't want to show it to all of them, because I say no.
no, I think, was it having this market stats dashboard available to all
Oh, I don't know, you
agents?
just said stats, one of the things that you guys looked at, was it this dashboard here?
Yes,
Okay, so not the stats that they run for like production and that type of thing.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking, okay. Gotcha.
but these are nice little, if anyone's using those gadgets where these first gadgets that come standard are for the whole market, but you can make them as many as you want, you know, for University Heights. This is a custom map overlay I drew. So you can have as many of these for a quick reference of stats on a dashboard. And actually, these little gadgets could be incorporated in any dashboard. This is just a dashboard with all the market gadgets. So we can make this as an available option to everybody for the market stats.
You guys think that'd be useful for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's something I can do, right?
Yes, or we could do it too.
Okay.
If you do it on the root account, then it'll show up for everybody. Is that right, Adam?
Yep, you would just go to customize and then you can recommend it to everyone. It's already under the root account, so it's I think it's the make default button, but we won't hit that yet. But yeah, you're on an ZFBS test where you can't share to everyone. There it is, the recommend dashboard button.
So we would go to just start right to recommend dashboard.
No, you would go to the tracking dashboard first and then recommend it. So in
So
the,
that, and then I won't do that now.
okay,
Not the, it's not the tracking dashboard, the market stats.
right.
So click add
And then you can,
the market stats.
exactly. And then from here, you can recommend it.
And then recommend dashboard.
Right.
I get nervous when I do things that are gonna affect every user.
Don't blame me.
No, it's a good feeling to be nervous for. I mean, you don't want to rush into things like that, but yeah, recommend dashboard is what you want.
Do it.
Do it.
And then you can check the box to add that to the list. If you show it as default, it would be the first thing people see, but I don't think we want to do that. We just want it available to them.
Create.
Yep.
Oh. It could be anxiety.
Is there anything else that you guys have?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, thanks again for taking the time.
And for coming in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, no,
Everybody
I-
on Zoom and everything too. This is cool to be able
thank
to
you.
directly interact and talk questions and concerns.
Yeah, and hopefully we could keep the communications going and not let things build up and come up with a plan and
Next to
make you
you.
guys happy. And your members happy and your clients happy.
Especially the client.
I think that's 90, a massive amount of the focus is the client experience, customer experience.
Yeah, and and we realize that, talking about things that we analyze the system, about half our traffic is consumer traffic to the system, through emails and portals and things like that. So they have their eyes on the system. So that's kind of has to be a focus for us.
Does Flexmls still have a user group that associations can recommend their members join or whatever? Or is it, how do you get on that user group?
Yeah, that was at the beginning of his presentation. He said, I'd like you guys on this.
Oh.
Yeah, so
It's been a long time ago.
someone want to address
Been over an hour ago.
that? I know there's several different levels of the user groups.
Yeah, I can hop in there, Dave. We've got a fuel group that we call it Fuel. It's people that we can go to for kind of research questions. They've kind of volunteered to kind of be on our list. We also have a product suggestion flow where you can submit some of these things that you've been mentioning to us. So Dave, we'll get you the links to sign up for Fuel and where you can submit those product suggestions. We review those product suggestions weekly. So that's a good kind of short-term mechanism. And, Crystal, I don't want to speak for you at all, but we're always looking for people to interview and talk about. Part of the new process that Carrie was mentioning is, our feature squads are talking to customers every single week. And so, having a group of people that are willing to give us 20 minutes of their time is always great.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody have any more questions?
I'm good. Thanks again for coming out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, thanks
thank
for
you.
your time and for having me up. And thanks everyone for joining from various parts of the country. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
See ya.
Taking a nap over there?
Wanted to.
She's all,
They didn't tell me press unclick on the computer. I don't wake up.
You don't?
No, I'm yawning all through my workout, like, I
Yeah.
don't wake up.
Oh.
Like all day?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Should I leave for
Yeah.
And then you just
everyone?
go
That's
to
rough.
bed at like 4 in the afternoon or what?
No, I go to bed at 9 and then get up.
Are we done?
5, get plenty of sleep. I
Okay.
Sleep disorders. in my
We're
family.
done.
I'm not ready to acknowledge that
Oh.
it's real.